Welcome to Mr. Beebop. The Secret of Chimneys is a work of detective fiction by British writer Agatha Christie, first published in the UK by the Bodley Head in June 1925, and in the US by Dodd, Mead and Company later in the same year. It introduces the characters of Superintendent Battle and Lady Eileen Brent. Here are some interesting facts and trivia about the novel. The Secret of Chimneys marks the first appearance of Inspector Battle, and was the last book to be published by Bodley Head, thus fulfilling the terms of Agatha Christie's 6-book option. While Inspector Battle would only appear in a further 4 novels, Collins, later HarperCollins, would remain Christie's publisher for the rest of her life. Her new agent, Edmund Cork of Hughes Massey, had negotiated much more favorable terms with Collins. John Lane, then publisher at Bodley Head, had replied that if anyone wished to pay that much for Christie's novels, they were welcome to her. The novel was well received at first publication, described as more than a murder mystery, as it is a treasure hunt. Later reviews found it a first-class romp and one of the author's best early thrillers. Christie expert and archivist John Curran wrote that a hefty suspension of disbelief is called for if some aspects of the plot are to be accepted. And later reviewers note that descriptions of characters use the terminology of the times in which it was written, and might be considered racist decades later. In the Bantam edition, the dedication is to Punky, who is Madge, Christie's older sister. In other editions the dedication reads, to my nephew. In memory of an inscription at Compton Castle, and a day at the zoo. The nephew was Jack Watts, the son of Christie's brother-in-law and sister, James and Madge Watts. Christie became very close to her nephew after his birth when she was 13, and joined her mother in looking after him at his home in Abney Hall. It is possible that the house Chimneys is based on Compton Castle, but Abney Hall is equally probable. When they meet up in Bulawayo, a young wandering adventurer, Anthony Cade, agrees to take on 2 jobs for his friend James McGrath. He heads for London to deliver the draft of a memoir to a publisher, and to return letters to the woman who wrote them. In England, politician George Lomax persuades Lord Caterham to host a weekend party at his English country home, Chimneys, where a murder takes place. Cade was at Chimneys that same night, and he pursues his own ideas in finding the murderer, while Superintendent Battle leads the main investigation. Little did Anthony Cade suspect that a simple errand on behalf of a friend would make him the center of a deadly international conspiracy, which has placed him in serious danger. Someone would stop at nothing to prevent the monarchy being restored in faraway Czechoslovakia. The combined forces of Scotland Yard and the French Charite can do no better than go in circles, until the final murder at Chimneys yields up an amazing secret. Inhabitants of Chimneys and guests at the house party. Clement Edward Alastair Brent, 9th Marquis of Caterham. Lord Caterham. Lady Eileen Brent, eldest daughter of Lord Caterham. Virginia Revel, cousin of George Lomax, daughter of a peer, society beauty and young widow of Timothy Revel. Former British envoy to Czechoslovakia. She is 27 years old. Hiram P. Fish, collector of first editions. Invited to the house party by Lord Caterham. Herman Isaac Stein, financier of a British oil syndicate. Treadwell, The Butler. Miss Genevieve Brunn. French governess for Lady Eileen's two younger sisters Dulcie and Daisy. Friends in South Africa. Anthony Cade. British educated adventurer, down on his luck when the novel opens. 32 years old, and 14 years since he was last in England. James McGrath. Canadian man always seeking gold, asked to deliver a package to London. British government. The Honourable George Lomax. A politician from the Foreign Office. Bill Eversleigh. Works for George Lomax and is one of the house party guests. Czechoslovakians. Prince Michael Abolovich. Second murder victim. Captain Andressy. Prince Michael's equerry. Boris Anchaukov. Prince Michael's valet. Baron Lolopretjil. London representative of the Loyalist Party of Czechoslovakia. Prince Nicholas Abolovich. Raised and educated in England. Dutch Pedro. An agent of the Comrades of the Red Hand. Police and criminal investigators. Inspector Badgeworthy. Local police. Dr. Cartwright. Pathologist. Constable Johnson. Newest addition to the local police, related to the station master at the train, thus aware of all arrivals and departures by train. Superintendent Battle. Superintendent of Scotland Yard, always on the spot. Monsieur Lemoyne. French detective of the Charite, also in pursuit of King Victor. Professor Winwood. Decoder. Other characters. Giuseppe Manueli. Italian waiter at the Blitz Hotel, thief and blackmailer, first murder victim. King Victor. International jewel thief recently released from prison in France, a man quite proud of his skills in thievery and disguise, wanted by 3 nations. Angeli Mori. Former dancer at the Folies Bergerac, jewel thief with King Victor's gang, later Queen Varaga of Czechoslovakia. The Secret of Chimneys was adapted by Christie into a stage play in 1931, but its planned performance at the Embassy Theatre in Swiss Cottage was cancelled. Nonetheless, a copy was placed in the British Library, where it was located, and a copy provided to Christie's daughter, at whose request its existence was not revealed publicly. Its world premiere was at the Vertigo Theatre in Calgary, Canada, on October 16, 2003, when the artistic director John Paul Fishback discovered the manuscript deposited at the British Library over 70 years earlier. The UK premiere took place on June 1, 2006, when it was performed by the Pitlochry Festival Theatre Company. The US premiere took place on June 12, 2008, as part of the International Mystery Writers Festival in Owensboro, Kentucky. The Australian premiere was on March 6, 2021 at the Genesian Theatre. In 2009, an adaptation was produced for the 5th series of Marple, with Julia Mackenzie as the lead. The episode aired on April 4, 2010 in Norway, and on December 27, 2010 in the UK. The adaptation retains chimneys as the setting. However, the substitution of Miss Marple as the main detective is only the first of many changes made to the story, which amalgamates and renames several characters, turns the political connection, transferred from the fictitious Czechoslovakia to Austria, into one of several red herrings, and comprehensively changes both the murderer's identity and motive. Its cast includes Edward Fox as Lord Caterham, Anthony Higgins as Count Ludwig, Jonas Armstrong as Anthony Cade, Charlotte Salt as Virginia Revel, and Dervla Kerwin as Bundle. The Radio Times observed that this production was classic Agatha Christie, even though it's only distantly related to her original. Purists will be utterly flummoxed, and the plot has more holes in it than The Murder Victim. The Secret of Chimneys was released by HarperCollins as a graphic novel adaptation on August 20, 2007, adapted by François Rivière and illustrated by Laurent Sunner. This was translated from the edition first published in France, by Emmanuel Proust Editions in 2002, under the title of Le Secret de Chimneys. Did you know? Czechoslovakia, a fictional Eastern European country in which the background action takes place, is also referenced in two Poirot stories, The Stymphalian Birds, and 1-2, Buckle My Shoe. The Blitz Hotel is in part a reference to London's Ritz Hotel, though the location of the Blitz matches that of the Savoy Hotel, where César Ritz had been manager. Christie later used the Chimneys mansion, along with the characters of Bill Eversleigh, Bundle, George Lomax, Treadwell, and Lord Caterham from this book, in the 1929 novel, The Seven Dials Mystery. Thank you for watching. See you again next time.